meantime, let's get to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin had a move last night, and it dropped under the 8,300 point, which is perfect short term. Now, I'm looking for us to get ultimately under 8,000. This is very key for us to get under 8,000. And I have this already all planned out. I've seen the scenarios, and I can go back in the charts. I add the combinatorial values, the statistics. This chart makes perfect sense. And so here are two scenarios I'm going to throw at you. You can see the high volume that we've had here spike on the drop. Now, what's likely to occur is we're going to drop back down and then pull all the way back up, probably up to here, or likely even the highs up here. That's the high statistic of occurring. That's the first scenario. Now, if that occurs, that's actually very bearish. Even if we went higher and went up to the highs and whatnot, that is bearish. That is something that would go out in the months ahead as being negative. Second scenario, which is the bullish one, and that's if we drop under the 8,000 and even down to the 6,000 range, down over here ultimately, and just make a straight beeline move downwards. That is actually very bullish coming for the months ahead. And you're going to say, why? That seems, that doesn't make, that's not intuitively the way it should work, right? Well, that's logic for you. It's not, things that are often intuitive don't, statistically make sense. That's why people like to buy high and sell low. So if we get that move all the way down to here on this from just the drops that we've had, that would not be unheard of. There's a good statistic that we could bounce all the way back up here. So I've got that all planned out. Now, so we're going to wait to see what happens, because that's going to give us a longer term picture of what's likely to occur going out in the future. Now, I've been asked about some other charts. I'm going to do Chevron real fast. Chevron's very easy. It's got bullish momentum right now, but ultimately I'm looking for it to get back under $80. It's left this butterfly. It had its first move up here. Boom, went up. Boom, went up 2, and now it's on number 3, and it's becoming smaller and smaller. It's more congested. So this is showing distribution to me, and I can tell by the movement and the prices. So it's just a matter of time before you get a big pullback, and this is the logical area going all the way under 80. Nothing has changed on this chart. It was a fantastic buy on one that drops and whatnot, and as was silver. Silver was probably my favorite. But as you see, it ran all the way down to the $11 range, and this is my favorite position to hold going long term outward. I've moved a lot of the profits I've taken off of the stocks now. I put into this area, into the as a hedge of inflation, basically, because I see that coming, and I'm move stuff to the cash, to the sidelines, and I'm also moving it more into crypto. I'm moving more away from stocks and moving more money into crypto and the metals market. And I'm going to prepare myself in the years ahead for an inflationary type of environment. So there are going to be some trading opportunities there, but I won't go on to what they're going to be. I'm looking for silver to go all the way back up to the 19 area up here. There's one chart that is an example that's very much like silver's, and that is Beyond Meats, and we can see what this one did. And I kind of knew one person who traded this very early, and they exited very early, and they didn't want to wait longer term for this up here, but that's okay. I mean, this was likely to occur in time. This is the same type of chart that Bitcoin made, right? If we remember, and the same type of movement, very manipulated. This, with the news and everything, this was very, very manipulated. But it's going to pull back likely from up these levels here all the way and close this gap all the way down here, and likely even go back to the 80s range. So Beyond Meat, there you go with that one. Now let's go to my favorites. AMD pulled back to under 50. This was a short from the mid to high 50 range, and this made perfect sense, and it did exactly what it was supposed to and pulled all the way back down to here and closed the shorts as they went back under 50. So it's just a hedge trade, really, just like Tesla. I'm going to go to Tesla. Overall, long term, I would be looking out in the future for it to go to the 80s and above. AMD has a really bright future with their chips and so forth, and there's some macro elements that can give them even a further boost with people buying computers, believe it or not. With this coronavirus, people needed to get new computers, and that's been a big thing. They've been upgrading, so that's a good combination of events. And AMD has made some really fantastic leaps in their chip technology, so that behooves them. And they're becoming popular with gamers, believe it or not. Gamers are like all over, and they're paying premium prices, which AMD's not used to, so their balance sheet should really explode. But anyway, let's get to my other favorite, Tesla, of which I'm 80% short. Nothing has changed. We had one short-term pattern. I did trade this right here and bought some down here. And again, if it goes up to 900, I'm going to be 1-to-1 short. Okay, so from here, if it goes up to there, 1-to-1 short, and then I'd be looking for the move down to 600. I think it'll probably truncate somewhere under that and then make the move down. But I'm not going to predict that because right now there's a lot of unknowns in the marketplace. I don't know how much money the Fed has pumped out, and I don't know what type of effects that's going to have. If they have a lot of liquidity, they can do some really strange shit to the markets. And I have to kind of prepare for that possibility where things don't really make sense. But I am looking for us to make that move back down to 600. It's very logical. Elon Musk even came out and said that this was overpriced, right? So there you go. I agree with him. But they still have a fantastic future. So in the years ahead, I expect, much higher prices. But I'm still going to look for that 600 and under. It makes sense. But, okay, now I'm going to stop saying but. Why do I keep saying that? So let's go back to the crypto market. We can see Ethereum. I want to switch to Ethereum. You see the big drop it had here. Now this was lagging the whole time with Bitcoin. So this was showing negative divergence, and it created some really ugly, this type of block pattern that I see right here with the volume. Anemic volume. Was very obvious, and then we had the drop, and made perfect sense. I am going to go over and find out. I have to find out some more information. Again, this is related to signaling, so I can't even say anything because I'm not sure. But we'll see. Let's go to BNB. BNB had a big drop all the way back down to 14. If it goes under a certain level, all the way down to the 13 range, I will likely become a buyer. I have a trade set up that I see perfectly on this chart that makes good sense, but I'm going to wait for Bitcoin to do its thing first. There are some short-term trades I'd like to make on Bitcoin, and I'm just going to wait for the setups. But again, I'm caught in the signaling mess. And, I have this buy zone all the way down here. Again, I'm looking for under the 8K. It's statistically